did you know? The inspiration for Harvest Moon came from series creator Yasuhiro Wada moving to Tokyo from his home in the Japanese countryside. Wada explained, "When I was in the city, I started reminiscing about what was good about where I came from, what made the countryside so special. That's where some of the key concepts for Harvest Moon came from." While working as a game designer in Tokyo, Wada began to develop ideas for a new type of game. He envisioned an RPG that was non-combat oriented and where the focus would be instead on life in the countryside. This was a way to recreate his nostalgic memories of home. The look and feel of the game, including the way the player interacts with environments with tools, was inspired by The Legend of Zelda. At the time, Wada had also been playing a Famicom game called Derby Stallion, which was a combination of horse racing and business simulation game. This helped inspire the concept of raising and taking care of animals. It was decided this new game would center around working on a ranch, where the player could also maintain a garden and sell crops. The idea of the game's farm growing larger as the player sold more items was influenced by SimCity. After the full concept of Harvest Moon was realized, Wada began to wonder if a game where players perform tasks that are considered hard labor in the real world would be any fun at all. This concern helped to form the pace of the game. In a presentation at the 2012 Game Developers Conference, Wada explained, "When attention is running high at all times, you get tired pretty easily. And on the flip side, it can get boring if everything is presented in a calm and composed manner. If we were to carefully craft a cycle in which you work diligently with a nice payoff or reward, the player would feel good." The original working title of Harvest Moon was Jinsei Monogatari, which translates to Life Farm. Game planner Setsuko Miyakoshi did not like this title and instead suggested Bokujo Monogatari, or Farm Story, which became the final name of the Japanese version of Harvest Moon. The game was renamed Harvest Moon outside of Japan by Natsume president Hiro Maekawa. This name comes from a real-life term, the harvest moon, which describes the full moon closest to the date of the autumn equinox. That is, the day in the fall when the day and night are of almost equal lengths of time. It's called a harvest moon because farmers can continue to harvest crops late into the night by light of the full moon. The development studio of Harvest Moon, Pack-In Video, went through several financial troubles partway through Harvest Moon's development cycle. The staff were stretched too thin, working on too many projects at once. During this time, the president of the company went missing, and the teams at Pack-In Video were scattered. Due to delays in development, barely any budget for Harvest Moon remained, and at the time, only 30% of the game was completed. Harvest Moon planner Setsuko Miyakoshi and programmer Tomomi Yamatate met with Yasuhiro Wada to assess whether the project could be salvaged. Wada was heartbroken by what was discovered, and he was ready to scrap Harvest Moon indefinitely. But Miyakoshi and Yamatate insisted they finish the game. The team was reduced from a staff of 10 to a staff of 3. Yamatate was the programmer, Miyakoshi took care of the art, and Wada performed scripting and playtesting. They brought sleeping bags to the office and worked long days. With only 6 months to complete the game, the 3 developers managed to reach the deadline, although many of the ideas from the initial planning stages had to be removed due to time constraints. Harvest Moon became a moderate financial success and a sequel was greenlit. All of the ideas that were removed from the first game made it into the sequel, Harvest Moon 64. Yasuhiro Wada has stated that he considers Harvest Moon 64 to be the game closest to what he originally envisioned. Harvest Moon Back to Nature for the PlayStation started development as an enhanced remake of Harvest Moon 64. Yasuhiro Wada assigned the team that designed the Game Boy Harvest Moon games to convert the title, and he suggested some ideas for additional content. When he returned to check on the project, he was surprised to find how much had changed. The game looked completely different. It had a different town, and the characters' personalities were changed, as were some of their names. Wada stated that this wasn't what he had in mind, but it was too late to go back, so the game was positioned as a parallel world to Harvest Moon 64. The Harvest Moon games contain several hidden secrets and exploits, some more well-known than others. In Harvest Moon for the SNES, when you use a miracle potion on a mature cow to impregnate it, immediately using a medicine potion on the cow will cause it to give birth after 3 days instead of the normal 30 days. In Harvest Moon 64, it's possible to win bets at the horse and dog shows without actually betting any money. When talking to the mayor's wife to place bets, enter as much money as you want on any contestant, then press B as if to cancel instead of confirming. And after the race, you'll be awarded even though you never completed the bet. Another exploit in Harvest Moon 64 allows you to win the affection of Karen in 1 day. If you show your dog to her 50 times, her heart will increase 1 level. If this is done indoors while time is frozen, her heart levels can be filled to 100%. In Harvest Moon, More Friends of Mineral Town, if the player watches TV when the clock is at 4:44, a dialogue box will pop up repeating the phrase 4th hour, 44th minute in Japanese. This was put in to freak out Japanese gamers as the number 4 is pronounced she, which is also the word for death. In the previous male versions of the game, doing this results in a glitch that causes the game to open and close an empty dialog box repeatedly until the game is reset. Harvest Moon DS has its own take on this Easter egg. If the player examines the back of the doghouse at 4:44, the Witch Princess will appear, starting a doghouse battle minigame where the players fight each one of the bachelors and then the Witch Princess herself. Harvest Moon DS is also notable for being the only entry in the series to allow same-sex marriage, though this is only in the girl version and is referred to as a best friend system. It was excluded from releases of the game outside of Japan. One of the characters in Harvest Moon, Hero of Leaf Valley for the PSP, had his skin color changed. A trader called Zan, who was originally named Gold Dodo, had his skin made lighter when the game was localized in the West. The game's localizer Natsume commented on the change, saying, "Normally we're happy to see ethnically diverse characters in Harvest Moon games. However, Zan had a lot of characteristics that are, in the West, sometimes associated with hurtful and outdated stereotypes of native African people. The skull on his head, the fact that he spoke in broken English, etc. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible to completely change his character design and rewrite all of his dialogue, so changing his skin color seemed to be the best fix. Again, we're happy to see ethnically diverse characters in Harvest Moon games, but not when they're reinforcing negative stereotypes that a lot of our players will find hurtful and offensive." That's all for today, but don't forget to subscribe to Did You Know Gaming and follow Did You Know Gaming on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you also check out didyouknowgaming.com, and if you liked this video, check out our other videos. And if you want to check out some stuff that I've done, and I don't know why you would, you can check out this top 10 on alien Easter eggs that I did. As Shane told me, it's very trivia-centric, so you guys might like it.